Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Why good men get caught up. Now, when I say caught up, that's usually first of all, let me make it clear. I ain't talking about the fake me out good men I talked about in my previous podcast. I'm talking about legitimately good dudes. Like you look at them, they hardworking. They got regular guys. But a lot of times, a lot of regular guys get caught up with the wrong type of woman. You know, a woman, she got a few red flags, but the dude might ignore them for multiple reasons. Like, of course, one reason is the sex thing. I mean, let me just put that out there. One reason is the sex thing. Because sometimes you meet that woman who just turned you on sexually. Let's be real. Men are moved. People, humans. I ain't even going to say men. We got to stop saying like, oh, it's just men moved by like their loins. Women moved by their loins as well. So you meet that woman and she fine. She look good. Now she might have a kid. And I know some dudes, they don't want to deal with a woman with a child. That's their prerogative. But every dude ain't feeling that way. You see, you got plenty of women. They might have one or two kids, and they just meet that woman that just captivates them in that way, the sexual way. But then it's not just a sex thing. You know, they might have the same general sex, social class, similar religious beliefs, a whole bunch of other stuff, and then it comes down. Sometimes they just click. You know, sometimes people look at these relationships like it's supposed to be. Like it's just supposed to be just a simple matter of two people just having some numbers or something and they just click. Nah. It don't work that way. There's emotion. You know, it could be the good guy could have met the woman on the job. They just clicked, or somewhere where he got to know her. It could have been at the church or temple or wherever, shrine, wherever. Or they could just be out and about, live in the same complex. There's a lot of stuff that go into whether or not a man and woman actually click. So the good men, they get caught up. Now, just to be clear, it's not on some save-a-hoe shit. It never is. What it usually happens is you get caught up. The good man gets caught up because there's enough there which in the man's mind, and that's the important piece, in the man's mind outweigh the red flags. And then, you get a lot of people, men and women. Let me be clear, men and women. Women actually do this more. I need to address them more. Who think, well, if I do this and that, it could change. Because the other stuff is weighing in. Because look, think about it. Hardest thing out here is for somebody to find somebody that they actually click with. Let me say that again. The hardest thing out here is finding somebody that you actually click with. So when you find that person, it's like, all right, we can make this work. Oh, well, yeah, you got that badass kid, but I think if I show him some love or something. Oh, yeah, you got the crazy baby daddy. Actually, if you're a good man, you mess with a woman with a crazy baby daddy, you need to seriously think about that. But y'all know what I mean. And those are just two examples. Because it could be something else. It could be that type of woman she could be single with no kids, but she caught up into her work, but y'all click otherwise. And some guys just hang in there because, like I said, it's hard. It's hard because, and trust me, the reason I know, because I get a lot of guys who hit me up. A lot of guys will hit me up and say, hey, you know what? This woman had everything, but she had this. She had this red flag. And it's very important to pay attention to those red flags. Now, I'm not going to just say, oh, yeah, don't leave her alone, because finding somebody you actually click with is hard. I'm not going to say that, but then you got to have your eyes wide open if you're going to still deal with that woman. And it's not always going to be some blatant stuff because people say, why she do this? Nah, women, please. Most people don't show you their bad side at first any damn way. Let's be clear on that. Most people do not show you their negative side. They ain't gonna be doing all that. That's not that bright. You know, people are always gonna put their best foot forward. Now, as you deal with them, you're gonna see their other stuff. Then you have to make a decision. What is it? And you know what? Also, too, a lot of good men might deal with a woman with red flags because they might have a few themselves. You know, we talk a lot about women having kids. There's a lot of guys who are single parents. Or they got some kids. Might even have a gang of kids. You know? So, you know, the guy might go in and say, well, that mine ain't perfect either. But usually, yeah, you go in, you get caught up. Because that good at first outweighs the bad. And I would say this going in. I understand that. I would say this to a man, you know, you meet that right woman, but there's some red flags, but you feel like, okay, you can work with her. Here's how you got to do it. First, the good has to outweigh the bad. I would say, if the people talk about red flags, I would start saying green flags. All right, so you sit down somewhere by yourself and start writing down the green flags. Say she's this, she's this, she's this. Boom. Then you write down the red flags. The first thing, if the red outweighs the green, you need to let her be somebody else's issue. She need to be somebody else's problem at that point. Now, say you get past that point. All right. So you still got the red flags. Before you even go further, you got to ask yourself, okay, what's a deal breaker? Now, a deal breaker is something that if this happens, boom, you ain't dealing with her, period. Ask yourself, is she showing any of your potential deal breakers? Is she showing your potential deal breakers? Right? Like if one of those red, like if the red flag is something that could become a deal breaker, you might want to let her, as I say, be someone else's problem. But if it's something, like I say, it's something that's working with, boom. Now, also too, a good man needs to, like, if he's going to deal with that woman, regardless of the red flags, ask yourself one simple question. Is she evolving? Okay, she used to party back in the day, all that. Do a bunch of crazy stuff. Though you still need to pay attention to that. But you got to ask yourself, is she sincerely improving herself? Sincerely. And when I say sincerely, there's a lot of people say, hey, you know, they trying to live their best life, doing a bunch of, you know, joining some church group or some spiritual type of group and doing a whole bunch of rituals and prayers and all of that. But it's like, okay, does their actions reflect that? And that's what you got to look at it. Now, I know she got that big old butt. She backing that thing up, but hey, is it worth it? Also look at, and here's a big thing. Look at how she manages money. And for some reason, you gotta look more into that, or maybe do a video on it. But the way a woman manages money tells you a lot about her, because ultimately that money thing going to affect you. If she that type who blow through money, that could be indication of some bigger issues, especially if you're not the type to blow through money anyway. So, yeah, you got to start looking at all of that. Like, but the first thing, the green flags need to heavily. I'd say, honestly, I would give it to a 3-to-1 thing. If it's like 2-to-1, that might be too close. It need to be a 3-to-1 thing, and even with the red flag, you gotta say how much can you live with that? Because people because I've seen too many good men out here get caught up because the women had a little bit, or a significant. Well, sometimes it's just a little bit of what he wants. So, anyway, that's all I got for today. As always, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and many blessings.